Oh yeah, welcome back to Captain Cole's Outdoors with yours truly, just a man and nature together. And right now I'm in some woods behind my house. I'm actually at a cucumber magnolia tree right here, and I'm picking seeds down in the leaf litter. They're these little bright orange pellets. Here's one right here, for example, that wildlife love to eat. But if I can get some of these trees to germinate and grow with some of my classes, it would allow us to do some pretty cool projects with, producing a food source for wildlife that we can plant into some areas. Now that said though, as you can probably tell looking at these woods right now, it's September 21st and they're looking awful yellow. And that is because we are in a period of drought that I haven't seen for quite some time. And what that's gonna do on the grand scheme of things is it's gonna reduce what we call the carrying capacity for wildlife in this area if this pattern continues and there aren't enough food sources for these animals to survive in. So just to put in perspective, what a carrying capacity is, it's the number of animals or plants of a population that can survive in an area based off of how many resources are available for them. So basically, when we think about this woodland here, the amount of food sources in acorns, magnolia seeds, hickory nuts, and other seed-producing trees like hardwoods, that's going to determine how many deer, how many turkeys, how many squirrels, how many birds, how many other species that need those food sources are going to be able to live there. But if these plants don't have solid populations, then the carrying capacity of those animals drops. In other words, there's not enough food for them, so less of them will be able to exist there. So by collecting these seeds from this tree, I'm hoping to plant some in projects, like I said, that will bolster animal populations, increase their carrying capacities, or at least stabilize them in certain areas. And thus we don't have to worry about the stress of an environmental phenomena like this drought really taking a toll on animals quite as much. But my little tree projects aside, this little video I'm going to show you is pretty cool because it actually looks at how carrying capacity can be actively used to find your quarry as a hunter. So we do a lot of hunting and fishing on the channel here, and quite frankly, hunting seasons and the species that you're allowed to hunt are all based off of this idea of carrying capacity. So in the fall and winter, there are less food sources for wildlife to exist to begin with. So with that, you find greater impacts to populations if their carrying capacities are not considered. So basically what that means is during the fall, winter, you're gonna have higher mortality of wildlife to begin with because there's less food and water. So rather than having animals suffer through those harder times of the year, they open these hunting seasons up so people can, harvest meat for their freezers and use the animals actively versus letting them suffer to conditions like drought and harsh winters. So there's a strategy reason to why we're allowed to hunt these animals. And that said, if you know how to use the concepts of carrying capacity to your advantage, you can actually harvest not just the seeds of certain plants that require certain elements like these bright orange cucumber magnolias, but you can use it to find animals through these tougher conditions, just like you're gonna watch in this video. So in this video, I go on a little dove hunt. I got a Saturday morning. September dove season is one of the first animal seasons to open up next to Canada goose, which you've already seen a video of. But I hunt a spot that all summer long, I see birds flying through the trees, flying through the pines, and they're very, very populous. So I started hunting in this area. This was just yesterday. And we start in this spot and I see exactly 6 birds in an hour, and like none of them are really shootable. So I take that knowledge and I'm allowed 15 doves a day. So I used the idea of carrying capacity to determine where would I go to find doves? What's the resource that I need? Well, where I was at, there was no water, there was no food, so there were no doves. So I had to figure out at this time of the year, what are these doves keying on for their primary source of food? And that, of all things, is corn planted by some farmers in the local area on a piece of ground I have permission to hunt on. So this little video is all about finding some doves and find some pretty fun wing shooting, which quite frankly makes me look rusty. But we did get a few, and the action's pretty sweet. But the understanding of why animals and their carrying capacity will help you find them when you can't locate them, let alone explaining why we have the opportunity to hunt these animals in the fall in the first place, is exactly the strat that we needed to get some birds for you for this cool little video. All right, so it's about 7:45 right now, and we're gonna walk up this trail. And like I said, we're just gonna kind of jump and gun, and I know we're gonna see some doves in this corn. Right now, we're starting to get to the point of the year where there's not a lot of food in the woods. As you can kind of see, it's a little bit dry. Ferns are starting to brown, and leaves are changing colors, and we're not even in October yet. It's actually quite dry. But that pigeonholes these birds, pun not intended, into, you know, using the food sources which are there. So we're gonna get up this path here, and we're gonna see if we can't jump a few doves off this standing corn. Call it a day. But one thing about hunting and dove hunting probably is a good example of that in anything. You gotta have some plasticity in what you do if you want to have success, meaning you got to be able to adapt. We sat, we had some doves come in, had some doves fly by that were too far, and at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, because we're going to get mobile, go to where the birds are, and make it happen. Oh, flushed the buck. Well, that's a dove. Should be right in here somewhere. Haha, dover down, how about it? Look at that. I haven't shot a dove in a long time. Whoa. Look at that. That's cool. One in the bag. Nice. All right, let's see if we can go get another one or two. There we go. A lot of missing there. But I knew this open cove was going to be an area where these doves wanted to be. And we sure smacked that one. Look at that. Nice dove. Oh, come here, you little stupid egg. Look at that. Here it comes. Dusted. Woo, now that's a shot there, boys and girls. Wow. Pillowcased. Oh yeah. No questions on that one. Well, y'all, I wouldn't call it a pretty pile pick, but it's 3 doves on a Saturday morning. And that's better than nothing, so I might be able to get another one right here. Alright, let's try this one more time. Heck yeah. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Thing one, whoo, beat it to the head. And right on the path here is thing 2. Now that is how you end a hunt. So y'all, check it out. It ain't the cleanest looking pile ever, but it's 5 doves, 5 more than I've killed in the last 5 years. So I'm glad we made the little adaptation there to go out and do a little walking stalk on that corn. Boy, they were loaded in there. We clearly aren't the best shot in the world, but we're a little out of practice. Happens when you haven't hunted doves for 5 years. So if you enjoyed this little dove hunt, like and subscribe. Just man and nature together on a beautiful fall day. See y'all in the next one.